Hey there! In this week's episode, I'll be showing my progress on the Fantastitch shawl by Stephen West. I have made some cheeky hand-dyed yarn acquisitions, so I'll be showing them off. And as always, I am trying to plan my knitting. Hello and welcome to Hanging On by a Thread. My name is Sølje and this is my channel of all things knitty and crafty that I do in a week. I have recently changed my podcasting recording schedule and I am trying my best to have it out every Tuesday. So today's Monday and recording. So far so good, or not really. I've already recorded the intro and a whole big segment of the podcast that I managed to delete. So I'm back downstairs. It's now evening and past me is going to come on later and do most of the podcast. But for now, you'll do with me. So welcome. If you're new here, thank you so much for tuning in. It's so much fun to see there are new people finding the channel. And I am really happy that you are doing that. So if you're already a follower, subscriber, you kind of have me popping up in your feed every now and then welcome back. It's so nice to know that I'm starting to have a few steady viewers. So yay. Last week I showed you all my bunad, which is a Norwegian traditional costume. So if you haven't seen it, that was in episode 20. This is 21, yes. And I was showing you my halling bunad. So it was festdrakt fra Nes, which is my halling bunad. And I was showing you off. I also linked to some resources on that video, but sadly they were all in Norwegian and I couldn't find any good source material in English. I didn't spend days searching either, to be fair. I'm sure there are some good books or something to get a hold of, but like pretty thorough search online didn't provide me a lot. But it just so happens, since then, I think 2 days ago or something, Fabel Knitwear, she posted a video on that specific topic. So she has actually done some research and made an awesome video on Norwegian traditional costumes, the bunads. So I'll link to that below and you go check that out. She's a lovely girl and I think she's a costume designer that's based in Oslo, and she also makes fabulous knitting patterns. So go get inspired and check out her video on the bunad. So as I said, I have already done this once today. This is the second time, so you'll see past me that comes on in a minute. She will look slightly fresher than this because I did that in the morning. It's a gorgeous day. I, got podcast ready, and then after I was done recording, I went and spent the day outside with my family, and I spent it outside working on the front yard. We are we're actually getting a garden. The front of our house and the outside of our house looks pretty shabby. So that's happening, and I'm all the gloss and beautifully made up face as it's a bit more bedraggled now. Anyways, I realized I need to do the whole what I'm wearing section again because I had got that out. So past me, it's gonna go straight into work in progress. Okay, so what I'm wearing still today, I didn't wear it while mucking around in the garden, but it is my Rocquaine sweater. So this is one of my most used sweaters, even it being all beige, because I'm not very comfortable wearing light colors like this, but I really just love how this sweater fit. It's a DK weight pullover, but it's a merino superwash, so it doesn't feel too hot. And the neckline's quite wide, so when it's a thicker yarn, I get too warm having too much fabric around my neck. So it's excellent for then layering with a shawl if it's nippy. So, and then I overheat in about 10 minutes and I take the shawl off. So yeah, Rocquaine, one of my most used knits, by Christina Danaee. I think I'm saying that right. I have no idea. But it was first published in Pom Pom Quarterly Magazine in 2016. I knit my version as part of the knit along from Stranded Dyeworks podcast in 2018, and the yarn is Madelinetosh Tosh DK in the modern Fair Isle colourway, which I don't think they dye anymore. I mean, it's Deep Stash from 2015. But I figured if I was ever going to use it, I should use it on something, a simple pullover pattern that didn't require a lot, because yeah, it's just speckles. It's a beige sweater with speckles. And it is wearing quite well, actually. I'm surprised. I've talked about this before. I am a hard wearing sweater, but this is hardly any pilling on this. And this is one of the weird ones where the pattern says knitting around up until the armholes divide the front and back, and then the sleeves in the round. For whatever reason, which I do not really remember anymore, I decided to knit this flat. So this is actually knit in flat in pieces, and it has seams, mattress stitch here and on the sleeves. I think if you go back, or if you've started watching the podcast series from the top, I had a 2-year break from when I started episode 1 in 2018, yeah. So I think I talked about this sweater before, the Rocquaine, and this is how it turned out. So maybe it's more recent in your memory than it is in mine, but for me it's years ago. So that is it. I don't think I've skipped anything else that I had talked about in the lost section. So without further ado, let's move on to works in progress, and Sølje can take over from here. And that is the Fantastitch shawl. So I have left it midway in a row, but who can finish a row and start something else when the rows start becoming, I think, 400 plus stitches by now. On this was a bit silly of me. I should have finished a row, because now it's impossible to show. Okay, I will finish the row and then we'll keep on recording. Okay, so I am knitting the last few stitches on this row now. Remembering to twist my stitches on the rib edge. There's an edging that goes all the way around, the top edge, I guess. People have knit shawls before, it's just me who's a novice. And I have my sound on, yes I do. Clever girl. And 1, 2, 3, and now I can actually talk about this shawl because I can show it off. It's starting to be a lot of stitches on the needle. I'm showing you the back. And here is the progress on my Fantastitch shawl. So last time I showed you this beauty, I think I was about here. I had just started on this block section and I've gotten this far. And it is a semicircular shawl. And there oh, stitches. Let's get these stitches back on the needle. I think I need a longer needle for this now. I think we're good. I have to re-knit those last ones, but this is good. Let's just hold this like this. And okay, guys. Here's the center. So you start. So I'm guessing that this kind of half moon crescent shape will continue all the way down, because there is like a 2-row break between most of the sections. Sometimes it's just a kind of a zing of color that goes through, and it is knit together yarn over, so you get this kind of hole. And this one is a bit special, but you can see you get this kind of whole row, and that 2 rows is where you do increases to make that circular, semicircular shape, I think. And so you can see the color combo that I chose is making it more of a play between textures rather than colors, because the most colorful version of the shawl has like, this section is pink and then there's a yellow, but whereas I got this olive color and then into this fuzzy green, which is quite close to the olive, but it gives a different sheen. Yeah, and I've just started on this slip stitch, another slip stitch section, which I'm not following exactly the color changes that as they say, because for this section I'm starting now, they say use color C and contrast with color G, but my color G is another brown, so then you wouldn't have seen the slip stitches at all. So I went for the gold instead to make it a bit subtle, but yeah, maybe I should have gone with the white. No, I'm standing by my choice of gold, and I'll shoot in a 2-row of white after that, I think. So I'm picking them as I see fit. As you see the gold here, I've got my orange tabby and then this gold fluff here. And I'm doing the same here. I got my hand-dyed BFL and my green fluff. So those are similar. And I think this contrast with the slip stitch blocks look really nice. It's hard to show shawls, huh? And not lose your stitches off the needle, because look at this, it's starting to be massive. So I think it's going to be a sizable shawl, as the Stephen West shawls is prone to be. So again, this is the Fantastitch shawl by Stephen West. I cast this on 2 weeks ago, and I've knitted on nothing else since I cast it on. And I think I better just keep on doing that, because otherwise I'm going to get distracted. I'm going to lose my jive on this, and it won't get finished. And I'm pretty sure I have enough yarn to finish it. If I see that I'm getting short on any colors, I could always stop early, because there's a small and a large version, and the smaller version has like 2 sections less than the large one. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with my color choices, and I'm curious to see how it all plays together in the end. I'm showing you the ugly side with all the things on it. Let's do this. It's prettier that way. You can see all the sections so far, more or less. I think I am section 10. I honestly don't know. I think there's about 14 sections. I could check how many sections there are. So I have my pattern on the phone. I always have my patterns on the phone, and it's just easier that way. So I've reached section 11, the slip stitch dots, and there is, oh, I've done quite a lot. So after that I have a garter stitch, so there's 15 before the finishing. So, but of course the shawl grows and grows and grows, so each section is bigger. Yeah, you're probably curious on what I'm knitting this in. This luscious textured color work. Let's just, I'll leave it like this so you can look at it while I'm talking about it. This is, I've got my fluff. They're all the same quality. They are Rauma. I'm always saying Sandnesgarn every time, but these are Rauma brushed alpaca and linen blend, so alpaca lean. And as I said before, the the colors are so gorgeous, and you see the linen core that has a similar effect as silkwood. You know, it doesn't take the dye as intensely, so you get this kind of shine, but it's a bit, the shine is like a bit more matte than it would be with a silk core, and I just love this. So yes, these 3 colors, and I will remember this time to put that in the notes or what colorways they are. But if you go to the Rauma website, you will for sure find they have a very nice website, and you can order directly from them. If you're in Norway, I don't know if they ship out abroad. And I do not know if any of the vendors they have outside of Norway supply this quality. I think it's mostly like the finer that gets exported. Not sure. And I have my hand-dyed colorways, which are, these 2 are BFL nylon, or BFL at least. I think this one is just BFL, and this one's BFL nylon. This is Stranded Dyeworks Orange Tabby BFL nylon, and this is a NinaPetrina BFL one of a kind colorway olive. And this is the same color as I'm making my lapwing sweater. So I have a whole cake still left to finish a sleeve, so I took a chance and used this final skein for this project. So I think that should be enough. And I have these 2 browns. One is, this is Værbitt garn on Hillesvåg Sølje. So this is, I want to say fox something. Oh goodness, I don't remember the name of this colorway. Ah, yes, why a fox? Fox because furry and red and squirrels, red squirrels. nutting. Yeah, that's the logic here. And this is a lovely, I was planning to use this as a contrast color for a light base color work. And let's see how much I'm left over with this, but I think I could still manage to do some color work with this once I'm done with the shawl. And also this is merino sock, I think it's called. Or it's the fingering merino from Malabrigo in the Marte colorway. And I just love this. It's this red and the greens and the browns. It's gorgeous. I might have to get more of this. Maybe in a worsted weight. Yeah. And was that all? Was that all? That's all of them that I'm using in this shawl. As I said, it is popcorn knitting, I would say. It's easy but interesting enough to keep going. The most boring sections for me are the garter stitch and the seed stitch sections. But luckily they're quite short, so seed stitch, only 6 rows. I can make my way through that. And this whole slip stitch color work isn't hard at all, and it's broken through by 2 lines of stockinette, which after 2 lines stockinette can be a bit but it means also I can knit this while watching a baby and TV. I have started watching from the top Game of Thrones again, which I figured I couldn't deal with the mental anguish of choosing a new series to watch, so I figured I've got HBO, I keep forgetting to cancel, so I might as well watch Game of Thrones from the top. And I managed to squeeze in 1 chapter or 2 chapters in the evening after the kids had finally fallen asleep. So that is my Fantastitch, and I'm enjoying it very much. I totally recommend you cast one on immediately. Choose the colors. It was a lot of fun choosing the colors for it from my stash. Before casting it on though, I did have a bit of a, I need more single skeins of hand-dyed yarn. Oh my goodness, I don't have single skeins of hand-dyed yarn. That was a bit of a crisis for me. There are no, you can't visit yarn shops in the same way anymore. And even if I could, there are really no yarn shops close by that I can conveniently visit and that they have hand-dyed yarns on offer. So if I do, I can't impulsively drop by a store and squeeze a yarn and like that color's mine and take it home. So occasionally I roam the internet and I find pretty skeins that I get sent back home to me. Then they can't be impulsively cast on that same day I order them, obviously. So if I have a project in mind, it gets put off. And you know how it is to wait for something that you've ordered. Where was I going with this? Yes, the growing of stash. This is my point. I want to knit out of stash, but I also kind of have to maintain my stash so that I have inspiring things to cast on, right? Right? That's reasonable. So this week I had 3 skeins arrive in my mailbox, and it's from Værbitt in Oslo. I love her yarn, and I wanted to try out some of the new, not new, she's done it for a while, but new to me qualities of yarn. So I've got these 3 beauties in my mailbox. So they are definitely the summer is making an influence on my color choices, or the need for color after a long dreary winter. So I've ordered 2 hanks of the Venul Spel colorway she has, which is from the Norwegian Spel sew. And it's a worsted weight yarn, which I did not know, but that's okay. I got worsted. That means quicker knits, doesn't it? So I've got 225 meters on 100 grams of the worsted weight yarn. It's a 2-ply woolen spun. And this one, this gorgeous hank of yarn here, how could I have resisted that one? It's called Stranda Baby, the beach baby. So I'm not sure what this will become, but I couldn't resist. It's quite, I would not call it's crunchy, it's hairy. I'm not sure how washed this is. It's definitely not soft. It's not soft, this, I would say. I would not go for this for a summer knit that goes next to skin. But I'm thinking as a color for a worsted weight color work, something, cardigan maybe, towards winter. That should be enough for a contrast color. And this is the same quality, which is oh, doesn't it have the name on it? It's one of the Nick Cave named colorways. I think it's Layla something. Put it on the screen there, the name. And it's this lovely muted pink with some purples and greens. I don't know if you can appreciate this subtle color changes. And I'm thinking, since this is worsted weight, I think this would look quite cute together paired with the Vestlandsull, which I have from Nøstebarn. I bought a couple of skeins of this that I haven't cast on and used yet. This is the Isbre Glacier colorway, and I think that could be a very nice combo for something. What do we think? I would have to knit. I think this is subtle contrast though. It's not going to be a high contrast color work, but I think it could be very nice. I don't have enough of this to make a garment for myself, but I could order a skein or 2 more of these, because they are quite reasonable length on this. It's 100 grams. It gives you 290 meters, which is slightly more than the Spel sew. I've completely lost my train of thought. I was sitting here with my balls of yarn and my camera told me things and I had to stop recording to figure that out. Yes, I'd gotten so far as talking about this combo, so let's see if something happens eventually with that. And I have also picked up this super lovely springtime color, which I think will become something for my mom eventually, because these colors just, it reminded me of her. And this is dyed on Rauma Finul, so it's very easy to combine with something else and make something lovely, maybe like a shawl or something like that for my mom, or like a cowl thing. Let's see if I can find a pattern that inspires that. Yeah, I got really technical issues. And then I had a moment of thinking that, like, actually, instead of deleting everything on the SD card on the camera, I thought I had like hit, okay, yeah, delete and reset the whole computer. Oops. Doesn't seem like I have though. Which is good because it's my work computer. And I'm gonna put these lovely balls of yarn back on background display duty. Sort of kind of pretty, right? Okay. Frazzled. I feel like a bunch of time passed, but it has not passed for you guys. So let's keep going. So the only other physical thing I have to show you today is a planned project. It's another amigurumi project that I have just gotten as far as sorting out the yarn I want to use and getting the pattern I want to do. So I have this little pouch, which is a pouch to put another bag in that my mom has done. So right now it's serving for a amigurumi project bag. Velcro. Big fan of Velcro. My mother. Okay, so I am going to be making a pattern by Lydia Tresselt. Tresselt? Let's go for that. Which is Dirk the Dragon. So she has this series of lovely little characters. So she has this basic form and then dresses them up. And this is Dirk, and I will be making him in blue. So these are the colors that I have picked out to make Dirk the Dragon. So I'm thinking I have enough for his little head and hands in this beigey color. I mean, I would have preferred a slight tinge of pink or a more of an olive hue, but this is what I had. And the blue is gonna be the body of the dragon with the little red highlights. It's gonna be this gold or brass or bronze. Bronze. I'd call this bronze, wouldn't you? And his wings are gonna be silver. So maybe I'll do some like silver trim, and I think this will be very lovely. Oh. This little dragon doesn't have any recipient in mind at the moment. I just feel like making him. I've been looking at the patterns of Lydia for a long time. I did make a little bunny out of that. She has quite a lot of little characters that follow that same basic form with a two little legs and then just kind of a little egg shape on top, and I think I will have to make some of those maybe for Christmas. She has a cute winter collection. She has some like Christmassy foods things, and then there's a cute little pine cone that looks really fun to do, and I would love to crochet that. So I've got my little bag here for that. Needle ready to go. So that's gonna come up. I was feeling like I miss a small snack project on the side. I am enjoying the Fantastitch, as I said, and I'm not knitting on anything else at the moment. And I feel like I need some crochet goodness to go with it. At the same time, I have been thinking a lot on what to knit next, and so I'm trying to be a bit more organized with what I knit, or like to make it doable so I don't feel like I'm constantly failing. I had a bit of a downer last week with the sky pullover, and I just I felt like what's the point of knitting and making these big things when I'm just gonna fail at it, when I'm not gonna end up with the thing I wanted. And I felt like it was such a waste of just time and everything. So I'm trying to make bite-sized projects to ease myself into it again, because I cannot take another failure. So my garments are a bit on hold, and I know I have completed things before. I have plenty of stuff in my wardrobe that shows me that I am able to knit a garment, but somebody slammed the door and they're back in. And to make my knitting not only enjoyable but also useful, I am trying to make a list of the garments that I do need in my wardrobe, as well as smaller knits that would be useful both to me and my family, but still not be restrained as, oh, I'm like a make 9 goal, like you choose 9 patterns at the beginning of the year and then, as me, completely fail to make any of them. I'm just gonna make a list of the type of item I want to make, and then when I have free needles or I see something that inspires, I can check it to my list and say, yeah, actually I am looking to knit X amount of hats this year, so that pattern release is just a thing, and I can just dive right into it and know that I'm not only knitting something that inspired me in the moment, but that will actually be useful down the line. So let's see, I'll keep you guys appraised on how that works out for me. And yeah, speaking of, I am a bit on the shawl bug. Might be just because I am knitting on a shawl. Makes me want to knit all the shawls. But this week, if it's not out already, during this week, this is the last week of May 2021, Gudrun Johnson is releasing a shawl pattern, and it looks super good. And I think it has just the right combo of ease and interest to be a good shawl knit. I don't know the name of it yet. I don't think it's been released as I'm speaking. I couldn't find a name for it. But this is a photo from her Instagram feed, and I'm gonna be knitting that. It has what she calls a modern hap construction, and it's using some slip stitch patterns from Norwegian sourcebook, and it just looks really nice. And and I'm thinking I should have it in all the colors. I just want the pattern to get out there so I can find out if I have enough yarn already for it, or if I need to buy some. But it looks like it might be a 1 or 2 skein type of project. Depends on if it's fingering weight or DK or sporty in between. But definitely something for, I think, like a fingering weight, woolly, like a nice woolen spun something. The pattern is from my Amiak, I think, which is not something I am planning to get, but that should then be some drapiness to the fiber, I think. Something to keep in mind for yarn choices. And the last thing I've been obsessing with this week have been Fair Isle. Always Fair Isle. I haven't been knitting any, but it's always in the back of my head. and I just love browsing color combos and just imagining how things will look in different color combinations. And since it's spring, summer, still chilly, but I still want to do all over color work, and I think everybody and their grandma is thinking about feral vests. So just simple vest tops with ferrule, so you can wear over a shirt or... And I'm thinking I might finally cast on one of the vests I have had in my mental knit queue for a really long time, but possibly making it a button-up vest. So instead of it being a pullover vest, a buttoned vest. I find that could maybe be a bit more useful. A tad 70s maybe, the open vest thing. Let's see if that happens. But there are a good many good options out there. I know Isolda has a couple of vests that are really nice, that have been on my knit list for a long time. So I'm just looking at my recently favorited, on my favorite list on Ravelry, and also the collections that I make on Instagram too. Like I bookmark to remember what the hell I was inspired by. And it seems like I'm totally drawn to smaller feral knits, colorwork knits lately. So there's a lot of cowls and snoods and vests. Clearly I've had enough of these all over big projects, because I have a few of them still going and I want them off my needles, but I still want to cast on new things. Is that allowed? Yes, it's allowed. I can knit whatever I want, and I can knit it when I want it and when I can. So lots of beanies, a lot of skull caps. Yeah, well, I can't find any of the ones I was thinking of. Anyways, all over colorwork, feral vests. Next time I'll compile a bit of an inspiration blog for that, maybe. Yes, that sounds like fun. I'll try to do that. Okay, I think it's time for me to wrap up. The boys are back. This recording of this episode took a lot longer than I had expected it to, because of technical difficulties. So yeah, thanks everybody for watching. It's so much fun to see that there are more people finding my channel, and I hope you are enjoying it. So thank you for coming back and watching again. I have now a few steady viewers, which is a lot of fun, and new people finding me, so yay. Thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed yet, feel free to do that. Give the video a like, subscribe, the little bell thing, all those things, typical YouTube channel-y things. And the stuff I mentioned in this episode, I will try to my best to remember to put it in the notes below. And then I hope I will see you next time for another chatty session about my life and my yarny things. And yeah, bye!